Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. You know, every new life situation brings on a new learning about oneself. And though I was raised or born into a train culture, my granddaddy John, my mother's father, was a train porter all of his life. And his name was John Williams. And so the train was Mom's world. And with my parents being in Tampa when I was born into that culture, that train culture. So I love the train. It is my preferred mode of transportation. I love it because, well, the hassle of planes, you know, whatever. But I love the slowness of it. I love the rocking back and forth. I love the sleeping in the bed, the bedrooms. And another thing I love about it are the wonderful people that you meet. And you know me, I like to talk. I'm a people person and the like. But one of the other things too is what's different about this trip is the closest people to me who were older than me, my parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, extended, with whom I would travel on the train, are no longer with me, who have an appreciation for it like I do now. So this is my first trip ever without the people who I love. And so I'm taking this trip cross country. I started in Daytona Beach, went to Washington, spent the night with my good college friend, Mary Robinson. She was just wonderful. She got a hotel for us. Took me back to D.C. She got a hotel in West Virginia, an inn. It was just charming. Took me back to D.C. From D.C., I went to Chicago. Wasn't supposed to stay for 6 days. Wound up staying for 6 days, which was a blessing, because for 4 years, when I was a little girl, Dad worked on his doctorate at a Northwestern, which is in Evanston, Illinois, which is right next door to Chicago. And while he was there, he pastored 2 churches. And my best childhood years were in Chicago. I couldn't have think of a better place. And then I went around Chicago taking pictures and videos and telling stories about what the different places meant to me. The 2 churches Daddy pastored are still standing. One of the churches, which was like in the hood on the west side of Chicago, Church of the Redeemer, it's still standing, but the parsonage next door to it, you can tell it's condemned, but at least it was still there, and I was glad to see it. And then we went to Ingleside Whitfield Methodist Parish. That's what it was called. It's now called Ingleside Whitfield United Methodist Church, and Daddy was the head pastor there. By the time he got there, he was just about finishing up his PhD, fixing to do his dissertation prior to going to Atlanta. And I took pictures there. They are in the process of remodeling. They haven't torn things out yet, though the pews have been taken out. It was still good that the basic frame was there, and I could still see the good memories. And took pictures. Met a Mr. I met a Mr. Portis, who is a trustee there. He let me in the church. I took pictures of the 3 residences, different residences where we lived. The parsonage that was across the street from Ingleside Whitfield, the parsonage that I had mentioned that was on the west side of Chicago, and the first house that we moved to when we first went to Chicago as a little girl. It was 7659 South Champlain, and I took pictures, told stories, just the things that I could remember, and I needed that. I was able to see children, playmates of members of the Church of Redeemer. There was Debbie Bailey. She's Debbie Bailey Williams now. There was Cliff, her brother Cliff Bailey. My best friend at Redeemer was Judy Bailey. My best friend at Ingleside was Anita Harris. But Judy Bailey has gone on to be with the Lord. And Cliff had his nephew, which was Judy's son, pick me up. And his name is Alan Burns, and he did not know that I was Judy's best friend while we were at Redeemer. So I got me a little nephew. He's grown now. But hey, Alan, I love you, boy. because you're Judy's son. And so, I was able to, talk about that. Cliff Allen drove me around. So did Debbie Bailey. She took me, we went looking for a camera. I couldn't find it. Eventually I found this one, and I want to thank Debbie so much for her efforts. I know it was hard. You had a lot on you, and to do, Debbie, what you did was a real labor and sacrifice of love, for which I'm, as my father would say, eternally grateful. And Cliff, Allen, you all were the reason you were who God used so that I could do the filming that I did. I was always wanting to do this because I wanted my son and grandchildren to know more about not just myself, but the steps that my father took, particularly in Chicago. And though I was very young, I have an excellent memory of things. I can remember being potty trained. That's my memory, okay? And so I was so grateful for that. From Chicago, I went to Sacramento, and I have a friend who lives in Stockton. Her name is Susie Gandela, and Sacramento is close to Stockton, so she picked me up from the train station in Sacramento, and we went to Stockton. I stayed in Lathrop at the Holiday Inn Express. It was so good seeing Susie. Susie and I, we go way back. We need to write a book together because of some of the things we experienced. And hold on, the man is talking. So I was with Susie, and I was there for 3 days, and it was just a pleasure just seeing her. From Sacramento, I went to Portland, Oregon. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment.